Hi everyone, it's Vicki. Welcome to my channel, and today I have two movie reviews. Mr. Mars and I went to see the movie Air, and we went to see the movie Renfield. I'll start with Renfield because that's the movie we saw first. And I think I've said this in another video, all prepared to come home from the movie and do that review. But I really had to think about it because I couldn't even say when I walked out of the movie exactly if it was a thumbs up or not. So I decided to sit on it a little bit. All right, so now that I have a little time to percolate on it, here are my thoughts. Oh, let me read to you what they say about the movie. I like to read what's published so that I know I'm not giving away anything, any plots. Okay, it says, in this modern monster tale of Dracula's loyal servant, Nicholas Hoult stars as Renfield, the tortured aide to history's most narcissistic boss, Dracula, played by Oscar winner Nicolas Cage. Renfield is forced to procure his master's prey and do every bidding, no matter how debased. But now, after centuries of servitude, Renfield is ready to see if there's a life outside the shadows of the Prince of Darkness, if only he can figure out how to end his codependency. All right, so this movie is a ride. I'm telling you, it is. You cannot pin this movie down. It is part comedy, part horror, part adventure action. It's all three of those things. It almost has two storylines. It's got the story that I just read you about Renfield, but it's got another storyline with a police officer and corruption in the New Orleans Police Department and organized crime. So it is, and the two converge at one point. It is, yes, it is, the movie moves from almost the beginning all the way through. Now, Jerry did say that he thought it had some dull moments. I'm not sure what those dull moments were, but they probably had to do with times where people were sitting and talking, like, well, I'm not going to tell you where, but anyway, and that kind of stuff can lose him. I should say he's not as interested in that. I think, likes the action of a movie. And this one's pretty action-filled. Maybe not as action-filled as John Wick. Not quite that. The movie starts with Renfield being in well, not really there, but the story starts, I think, with Renfield being in a self-help group, a group where they get together and they're all codependents and to a narcissist. So that's kind of funny in itself to me that someone who's, from centuries ago would go to something like that. And, and he's dressed in clothes that are definitely out of his time and definitely, different than modern people. But eventually, really what happens at the beginning is that it shows how when Dracula gets injured or, someone finds out who he is, tries to kill him or whatever, he gets injured, then he kind of has to go underground, we'll call it. And Renfield has to kind of take care of things and him as he slowly gets his strength back. And that's what's happening in this movie until he, gets his strength back. But during that time, Renfield basically, as this states, is kind of deciding maybe he's going to make a break for it. And that's the main gist of the movie, along with this other storyline. When we came out, I said to Honey, thumbs up or thumbs down? He goes, I don't know. And I said, me either, I'm not sure. But I've decided since then I'm going to give it a thumbs up. But with a caveat, this is a very bloody, violent movie. Now, it's bloody and gory. It's violent too, but blood and gore are the main thing I want to warn you about. But it is so over the top that it's almost cartoonish. And for example, he rips a guy both of his arms off, and then he uses those arms to stab the two other people. I mean, it's just crazy kind of violence, kind of gore like that. So it's not a scary movie at all. When I said it was a horror movie, I meant more in terms of the blood and stuff, and killings and blood. Not so much, nothing frightening about it at all. There were no jumps or anything. There were some funny moments. There's some icky moments with bugs or whatever. But anyway, Yeah, so I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. You definitely don't have to see it on the big screen, but if you don't mind, that genre of movie. I mean, you're gonna expect blood with Dracula, and what's weird is most of the bloody scenes. In fact, I think all the bloody scenes are not Dracula. They're Renfield and the mob. They're not. Yeah. So I don't want to say much more, but yeah, if you don't mind that genre of movie, then you might like it. I think Nicolas Cage and the other Nicolas, I don't know, I'm not as familiar with him, but I think they both did a good job of acting, as did a woman who played the police officer. Aquafina is her name. I'm not really that familiar with her. I've seen her in something recently, actually, I think. But I think they all did a pretty good job of acting, especially Nicolas Cage. So, yeah, I didn't regret going. So, that's that movie. Second movie we saw was Air. Now, Air is about the deal between Nike and Michael Jordan, and how hard they worked to sign Michael Jordan on to, represent their product and name a product after him. And I can tell you, well, let me see what they say about it. Okay, so here's the official word. All right, from award-winning director Ben Affleck, Air reveals the unbelievable, game-changing partnership between a then-rookie Michael Jordan and Nike's fledgling basketball division, which revolutionized the world of sports and contemporary culture with the Air Jordan brand. The moving story follows the career-defining gamble of an unconventional team with everything on the line, the uncompromising version of a mother who knows the worth of her son's immense talent, and the basketball phenom who would become the greatest of all time. All right. Well, Nike is a bit of a heart brand for me, having lived in the Northwest when the line was developed, and the company I worked for bought Nike for our stores. I was a buyer, but not in shoes. When it was early on, fledgling, But anyway, so in this movie, they're trying to pursue Michael Jordan, who has offers, of course, from Adidas and Converse. And as it turns out, without telling too much of the movie, he is the first celebrity to ever get a stake in the product, which I had no idea. But yeah, so it sounds boring on paper, this whole thing of setting, but it isn't. It's very interesting. And, there's the family dynamic of his parents. There's the dynamic of that whole office, and the Ben Affleck character having started this company and was selling shoes out of the trunk of his car, making them in his garage with a waffle iron, the whole thing. And at the time of this movie, Nike was known mostly for running shoes. And it seems like maybe they did some baseball shoes or something, but I might be remembering wrong. But anyway, they were wanting to get into basketball, and the basketball section was little. People kind of laughed at it. I think they were about ready to defund it. They just weren't giving them much money or anything. So against the odds, they end up signing him. That's no secret because everybody knows what Air Jordans are, so I'm not giving away anything there. But yeah, so I think it was well acted. I think Matt Damon did a great job. I think all of them did a great job that are in the movie. And yeah, it was definitely a thumbs up for both of us. I think it's one of the better movies that's been out lately. Like I say, on paper, it sounds sort of boring. It sounds like a business deal, but there's just so much more to it than that. One of the neat things about it is the movie's supposed to take place, I think, in 84. Yeah, 84, because I don't think the Jordans really came out till 86, or that was their first big year, I think. But anyway, 84, and the movie, I mean, you really, really felt transported back in time. They played the right music, they had the right cars, they had the right furnishings, they wore pagers. I mean, if you are into 80s memorabilia, or just 80s music, or just that 80s feel, they nailed it. Did a fantastic job on that. So overall, we both gave it a thumbs up, and would recommend the movie, definitely. Had some funny moments, and it was just well made, well acted, well done movie. Thanks so much for watching my channel. I hope that you'll give the video a thumbs up, speaking of thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. And if you are, I really, really appreciate your support. Thanks a lot.